Okay, so now that we've got the um, data, we've got the data coming in, then let's take a look at this. So we need the JCCM, and we could also use the JCJM, and I am just going to use the JCJM as an example. So we can look at the transform data part. So as we get the transform data to come up here, we can. So if we look at the JCJM and we edit the settings, and we can see that we've built the connector string because with Vista, they have multiple fields that make up the key. But in Power BI, they can only use one field as the connecting key between data sources. And so we have to bring those together so we can concatenate that here in the and I've just done a simple one here. I'm not going to change this. And we're just going to cancel out of this. But this is, so we're bringing the job and the contract together into one. So into one field. And we're doing that here is the JCCO contract. But here with the JCCM, and we can do it here in Power Query, we could add another column so we can connect these because we want to connect the job and the company in here. So we could do this in Power Query. We've done it in the SQL there, and then we will show. So here in the transform data, and actually, because I'm not connected to the Vista database here, I can't do any transformations there, but we can do transformations inside of. So this is, well, I'll show you the model here. So here's our JCCM. It's out here by itself. We can't connect it to anything. We want to get a JCCO contract type. So if we look at so here we've got the JCCM, and you can see here we've got those two, the company and the contract. We've got that combined here into this one field, and so we need to do something like that for the JCCM. And in this, we can create a new column right here, and this is when we're doing this. And then we're going to do job on this one. Oh, okay. So you can change the name here, but you can also change the name down here. But what we're going to do is, if you just start to type in, so we want to do the company, and then this is like Excel. We're going to do the same thing that we've done the other ones. You can see, and then we've got the job. And so now we've got that same type of a column. We can go back into here. Now we don't have a job column in this one. Do we have a? So we have a job column in here, and we've got the contract. And so we also need to do the same thing in the drill down. So we're going to go back over to the drill down. There's a lot more columns in this one. So we're just going to do a new column. And then right here, we'll do the JCCO and the job. And the same thing, J. So as soon as we start to type these in, so we've got the JCCO, and then pipe that together. Same thing. Oh, I've got to do the ampersand JC. And so right there, I've got the job. And so So there we've got this out there. One of the things I'm going to trim this here. We need to trim this in the other two. Yeah, you can see there where the space goes away there. So let's go back over to the. I'm going to go back over here. We're going to do the same thing. The green check mark. There we go. Got the spaces gone. So now when we come into here, we can tie those two together like that. And it needs to be a one-to-many here in the relationship. So we've got those two now tied together. You can see we can move these around in here so it's easier to see. And then we've got our date column, which we don't have connected up to any particular here we've got the posted date. We could do, this is probably a good one to do. The date right here, we're going to do posted date. Connect those two. So now all of that data is connected. So as we use these different data sources in our data model here, those are connected and will, as we make changes in one visual. So let's bring up our visuals here. So the first thing we can look at is a table. We'll bring the table over here and we're going to look at the company. So we can drive the company over here, and right here it's summing that. So that's not what we want to do. So we're going to change this to don't summarize. So this shows the different companies. So we've got our live companies and some of our test companies, and then we can drag the contract out there. And so you can see, and we've got the contract description. We can drag that out there too, so we can see, contract description. So I'm dragging it over here into the columns. We can take this out and I can show you. You can drag it actually out here onto this too. That's a similar way to do that. So you can see there's a lot of stuff in the drill down here. This isn't super useful to us right here. And so we're going to move this over here. But this is showing, and so we can see we've got this contract description out here. And we've got all these different companies. So one of the things we want to do is we just want to look at one company at a time. They have this slicer. So we're going to bring a slicer out here, and we're just going to come up here and we're just going to do the companies. So the slicer, bring the slicer settings. We're just going to do we're going to do drop down. So this shows all the different companies. And if I just want to look at company one, I click here. And usually what we're going to do, so we'll put the company up here, and then you can see. Now, if you hold the control down, you can select multiple. And if you don't want people to do that, there's a way to change that so you can only do, so here's selection. And then it's single select on or off. So once we turn that on, only one can be selected. Multi-select on. You can select all. So this is something that's a newer-ish feature that's happened in the last year or two. You used to have to build that in yourself, but we don't have to do that anymore because somebody built that in. So we'll just select company one. So we've got this, and once again, this is not exactly what we need. We can scroll through here and see these different things, but we want to see some other information on here. So I am going to change this, and you can do this with a visual. You can change the visual. I'm going to change it to a matrix. And so the rows, and here is where it just becomes easier if we can do, if the I'm going to put the contract in here, where the contract and the contract, the company and the contract are together. So I just want it like this. And here we're going to get into some of our drill down data. And so original contract amount. So you want your original cost. I'm going to do this as this is values here. Original estimated cost. And we can go into the contract. Well, we do have the contract description in here, and that's showing down here below. So we probably want, so here we've got contract description and we've got the contract and the company. So if we do this, we're just going to get the contract descriptions. So here it would be helpful if we had the contract and the contract description together. So we'll click on this. We can make a new column. And then we can just call this contract combined, and you can leave spaces in there. It's not a big deal. So we've got the contract. And actually with this, we're going to trim this too. And we've already got the line there, so we don't necessarily need that. And so we're just going to put the contract description in here. So now we've got these two together. So if we come back over to our report view and click on this, we can use our contract combined. Take this off. We're going to do the contract combined here. So here we've got and then we've got these stretching out, and what we would like those to do so we're going to put this down in the values, and so we're going to show the sum of each this is not, of course, this information is kind of useful, but what we want to look at as that would be more useful would be phase and description. And I've already created a column for this. So we put this here, and then it drops down and you can see the phases and how much the sum of the original cost was. And we may want to know if you're using units, original estimated hours. We can drop this in here. Original. You can bring it out and drop it on here. Unit price, whatever information you think is valuable on this. And then you could just drop down here. So we've got the company that we're looking at here. If we wanted to do, and you can see it as we select on this. So you may want to, instead of having to do this, we could drop in another slicer. And here we're just going to do contract description. So this is a vertical list. You can do tiles that show if you've just got a few things you want to look at. This, we obviously have quite a few. So I'm going to do the drop down. And so then it just shows these different ones. Now, if we click on this, you'll see, you might think, oh, what happened to this? Because we had this selected. Now let's try that. Maybe we don't have any data. Oh, there's one for the Eugene School. So now we're only seeing the Eugene School here on this, like this longer. We're only seeing the Eugene School because this is what we have selected up here. So if we go back and look here, we've got the key bank. So as we make changes here, and then we'll take this off and we can see if we change the company, there's nothing that we can look at in company 1. Let's look at company 2. Still not seeing anything. Company 3, company 5, company 50. So company 50, let's see if we've got anything. So company 50 is where we've got our data for this. So the key takeaway to this is where these are connected. Because these are connected, then we can build these slicers. We can build the slicers, and we can build these matrix tables because these different things, you see we're pulling data from different sources, and they're connected. So this is one of the critical pieces of doing Power BI. And then the other critical piece is connecting these, because we can only connect one field at a time. But we've looked at some different ways to combine fields, the key fields from Vista, into the key fields that are required for Power BI.